In the dark forests and towering castles of 15th century Romania, one name struck fear into the hearts of all who heard it: Vlad the Impaler. A historical figure whose reign is forever linked with terror, torture, and cruelty, Vlad III, also known as Vlad Dracula, remains one of the most infamous rulers in European history. His name became a symbol of brutality, inspiring the fictional character of Count Dracula centuries later. But the truth about Vlad's reign is far darker than any vampire myth, as his cruelty and bloodshed were not born of fantasy but of a real, historical figure whose ruthless tactics shaped the fate of an entire region. Vlad's story is not just one of bloodlust but of betrayal, vengeance, and the savage warfare of the medieval period, where the line between justice and madness was often blurred. Vlad III was born in 1431 in Transylvania, which was part of the Kingdom of Hungary at the time. His father, Vlad II, also known as Vlad Dracula, was a member of the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order dedicated to defending Christianity from the rising Ottoman Empire. The word Dracul means dragon in Romanian, but it also means devil. This dual meaning would have a profound effect on the legacy of Vlad III, whose name, Dracula, literally translates to son of the devil. From the very start of his life, Vlad was steeped in conflict. His father's involvement with the Order of the Dragon meant that Vlad III was exposed to the harsh realities of political and military struggle at an early age. This environment would shape his worldview and his brutal approach to leadership. As a child, Vlad and his younger brother, Radu, were taken as hostages by the Ottoman Empire, a common practice used to secure loyalty from potential enemies. During his time in Ottoman captivity, Vlad learned the ruthless tactics of his captors and witnessed firsthand the horrors of war. His time as a hostage would influence his later methods of ruling, which were marked by a deep sense of betrayal and a desire for revenge. When Vlad returned to Wallachia, he found himself in the midst of political upheaval. His father had been betrayed and assassinated by a rival faction. Vlad III, now determined to avenge his father's death and reclaim his throne, would go on to rule with a terrifying vengeance. His reign, which began in 1456, was marked by brutal campaigns against both internal enemies and external threats. Vlad's most infamous method of execution was impalement. This gruesome form of death was not only a punishment but also a spectacle, a horrifying message to both his enemies and his subjects. Impalement was a slow and agonizing process. The victim would be placed upon a long, sharpened wooden stake, which would be driven through the body, often starting from the anus or vagina and out through the mouth or chest. The victim's body would remain impaled for hours or even days, depending on the severity. This brutal execution method was not reserved solely for his enemies but also used on anyone Vlad considered a traitor or threat to his power, including his own nobles. Vlad's impalement victims were often left in public view as a warning. It is said that when the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II attempted to invade Wallachia in 1462, he was greeted by a horrifying sight: a forest of impaled bodies, numbering in the thousands, placed strategically along the road. The sight reportedly caused the Sultan to retreat. While many see Vlad as a sadistic monster, others view him as a ruler shaped by the brutal norms of his time. Medieval Europe was a brutal place, and leaders were often required to take extreme measures to maintain power. Vlad's actions were seen by some as necessary to defend his kingdom from Ottoman Turks and internal corruption. He ruled with an iron fist, executing anyone he believed was disloyal or a threat to his authority. His sense of justice was unforgiving and absolute. One of the most notorious moments of Vlad's reign was the night attack in 1462, a daring raid on the massive Ottoman camp. The Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II, the same ruler who had conquered Constantinople, was advancing on Wallachia. In response, Vlad launched a surprise attack under cover of darkness. The battle was chaotic, with Vlad's forces using deception, fire, and psychological warfare to create confusion among the enemy. Though the Ottomans ultimately held their position, the psychological damage was significant. Vlad was known for his manipulation of fear. After the raid, he again left thousands of impaled bodies in the enemy's path, causing panic. Though successful in frightening the Ottomans, the night attack didn't secure Vlad's rule. Internal betrayal loomed once more. His younger brother Radu had converted to Islam during Ottoman captivity and gained support from the Ottomans. With backing from foreign powers and nobles who had grown tired of Vlad's tyranny, Radu launched a campaign to take the throne. Vlad, isolated and hunted, was forced to flee. He sought refuge in Hungary but was arrested by King Matthias Corvinus, his former ally. Corvinus, under political pressure, imprisoned Vlad for over a decade. Ironically, it was during this imprisonment that Vlad became a kind of folk hero. Stories of his brutal justice were retold with admiration in some circles, especially among the peasantry who saw him as a man who punished the corrupt nobility. While Western Europe saw Vlad as a demon, Romanians remembered him as a stern protector of the people. In prison, Vlad even converted to Catholicism to gain political favor. Over time, political tides shifted, and Vlad was released, once again granted the chance to reclaim his throne. In 1476, Vlad returned to Wallachia for one final attempt to seize power. Backed by a small army, he took the capital and reclaimed the throne, but his final reign was brief. Within weeks or months, Vlad was killed, either in battle or assassinated by his own men. Accounts vary, but it's believed that his head was sent to Mehmed II in Constantinople as proof of his death. His body was never recovered. And yet, Vlad's story was far from over. His legacy would grow even more powerful after his death. The Saxon merchants of Transylvania, whom Vlad had once punished harshly for economic manipulation, spread pamphlets across Europe painting him as a bloodthirsty tyrant. These tales of cruelty, whether exaggerated or true, became infamous. Centuries later, Bram Stoker would take inspiration from Vlad's name and reputation to create Count Dracula, the immortal vampire. While the fictional Dracula drank blood, the real Vlad had spilled it. But his legend persists not because of fiction, but because of fact. His horrifying methods, strategic brilliance, and unyielding thirst for vengeance made him unforgettable. Even now, in modern Romania, Vlad is a complex symbol. Some admire his resistance to the Ottoman Empire and see him as a national hero, while others remember the forests of impaled bodies and the terror that stalked the land during his reign. His castle, Panari, now in ruins atop the Carpathian Mountains, draws tourists who wonder if evil once truly walked those halls. Vlad the Impaler's story is a chilling reminder of how power, when driven by paranoia and vengeance, can create a legacy not of greatness, but of fear. Whether seen as a monster, a patriot, or a product of his time, Vlad Dracula's name still echoes across centuries, a shadow that refuses to die.